Hello, beautiful people. Mic check. Mic check. How we doing today? Happy New Year. It's been 6 days. How you guys think it's going so far? Huh? Huh? Shout out to everybody who is watching. Hit the like button. I say that every live. Do it. Share the live. I say that every live. Do it. Become a subscriber. I should say that more. Do it. Shout out to all the members and all the subscribers and all the supporters in all of the places. Yeah, it's looking pretty tacky back there. It's looking pretty tacky back there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So I can't remember everything is just a lot right now. Okay. The world is a lot. Work is a lot. Life is a lot. I was in a car accident. So that happened. I'm mostly fine. My shoulder is a little messed up, but it was already messed up. Um, my thigh has a stress injury, basically. Um, so I was a back passenger and we were turning right and we got I guess it was mostly T-boned would be the best way to describe it by a oncoming car that also decided it wanted to whip it, and try and beat us to the turn. They did not have the right of way. Um, and so I could see the car because 'cause I'm black. I'm black and I'm a woman, and it doesn't matter if I'm driving or I'm a passenger. I keep my head on a swivel. I keep my head on a swivel when I'm driving or when I'm in a car, period. Because it was ingrained upon in me by my dad when, he was making sure I knew how to drive. Notice I didn't say teaching me how to drive. He was making sure that I knew how to drive before taking my official test. And so we would just have conversations about cars and driving in different places, right? In the country and in different parts of the world. Because he traveled a lot for work. And so he would tell me about the methodology of driving in different places. But basically, what he ingrained into me is when you know how to drive a car, you know what you're doing. If you're not distracted and you're paying attention, he was like, you should not be driving just sitting there. He's like, if there's traffic around you, the way you navigate the road is to pay attention to what everybody else is doing. Assume they're all incompetent drivers. So that's how I drive. I'm an anticipatory driver and I've avoided some shit just by clocking it before it actually happens. Everything from semis jackknifing and overturning like within feet of me to accidents of other cars that are going to happen, right? All of the things to who's going to try and hop this lane at this part of the freeway because this is always where people try and hop this lane to get over to that exit or vice versa. So I saw the car coming and my body did what bodies do when they're about to be hit. Sis said, oh, I can't lift up my leg, but I tensed up my body and, severely strained uh this thigh. Front, back, sides, this whole thing here is not in a good way. So, yeah. But otherwise fine. Otherwise fine. And in the scheme of things that have happened so far in this year, it ain't shit. I really don't even care. that it happened. Like I could walk away. Everybody could, walk away. Yes, I went and I saw a doctor because I was in a rideshare vehicle. So I don't care if the car that hit us is insured. The car I'm in is insured. I ain't paying for shit. I'm going to the doctor. So all things, all boxes checked basically to, ensure that I'm good in the future if this proves to be something more than just brace for impact, really. Um, so yeah, I don't even know. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Um, the body is fascinating, really. The body is fascinating. So, yeah, I'm dealing with that, and then yeah, I'm dealing with packing. If you're wondering where my progress is at in moving in, you know, 4 days, not very good. I'll be perfectly honest with you, not very good. I got the biggest piece of furniture taken apart. That's my for myself because that was rough. That was rough. But but I did it. And that was my biggest accomplishment was the biggest piece of furniture, which is a king size bed that I don't even sleep in. I don't even go in that part of the townhouse. So um it was basically go in there, pack stuff up, figure out what's going to be donated, figure out what's going to be hauled out of here because I'm taking this opportunity to I'm losing a room, which is fine. It's inconsequential. I'm more upset about the outside space that I'm losing. Um, but I'm taking this as an opportunity to downsize all things, furniture, paper, just all things, right? Just let's just lighten the load, you know? Um, so yes, I've been dealing with that. And it is Taco Tuesday. It is Taco Tuesday. Yes, that is true. I'm gonna be having beef stew, but beef stew and biscuits. Okay, that's what I'm doing tonight. Um, so yes, after this live, I'm gonna start really cooking on this here spot. I also had to get some storage stuff delivered to put shit in because that was another thing. I started putting more boxes together, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. I think I need because I'm clocking what is gonna basically stay stored when I move, right? And I was like, I don't want to put this in boxes and then have to find a home for it. I'm gonna get some real good solid storage bins and just what will be in storage will be in storage containers. So anyway, that's what I've been dealing with. I have to get cooking because movers are showing up Friday morning. Jesus, it's a lot to navigate. It's a lot to I love this. Deconstructed Taco Tuesday. Basically, all the same things are in it, right? Beef, carrots, onions, potatoes, sure, why not, Yeah, funny. It's just, it is nice. It is nice to be able to just be like, I'm getting rid of that. I'm getting rid of that. There's 2 TVs that have gone out in the last 5 years. One of them sitting right over there. The other one's downstairs. Obviously, I'm not moving them. I'm taking this as an opportunity because I knew I was going to have to get them hauled. One of the TVs is very large. I'm going to have to get that hauled out. Um, I don't want to pay that. If I'm gonna pay for a haul, I want you to haul some shit. I don't want you to just come get this big ass dumbass television that I'm mad at. I told myself for a year and a half that me and my friend were gonna replace the part and fuck that TV. So fucking over it. But now I have a reason. Come get that one. Come get that one. Shit. Yeah, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a lot of work. And I definitely like you know, Instacarted all the braces that I'm gonna need. The thigh brace, I got K-tape. When they taped me up, I was like, "This ain't gonna do shit." It definitely did. I could feel it. I was like, "Oh, show me how you did that so I can do that." Yeah, I got 3 rolls of K-tape. I got braces for all the things, shoulder, thigh. I got a pre-existing issue, so I'm gonna, armor up and I'm gonna get into the damn thing. But I've been wanting to talk to y'all. Yes, I have. I've been wanting to talk to y'all. Last word on this. It's interesting what happens when you go from being an active parent to being an empty nester. All of the contingency things that you have, you no longer need, right? You no longer need all of the contingency things that you've built up. You've built up a store of every kind of bandage, every kind of medicine, every kind of uh, uh, wrapping paper, gift bags, charging cords for various things, backup charging cords, just all of the things that you accumulate to be a one-stop shop for another person. And when he moved out, there were things where I was like, "You're taking this, you're taking this. I have this because you're here. You're taking it. This is in the event, and you will eventually. You're taking it." So, all utilitarian type things, right? There's some furniture. The big bet that shit is not coming with me. I'm gonna put that shit on uh something something. I don't care if people pay for it or not. I might have them pay at least $50 because that's how much the bag costs for the mattress for that king size bed I took apart. And that mattress is pristine. So anybody who's willing to come and haul that shit down 3 flights of stairs and take it out of here, you can have it. That bed is in perfect pristine condition. When I took all of the protection off of it and looked at the mattress, I was like, I did the damn thing. I did the damn thing. Um, but yeah, just all the things that you accumulate for another person. It's like, well, I don't need all these chairs. They ain't here no more. Now listen, I got 6 different kinds of tape in this house, including non-adhesive, the thing that only sticks to itself. I've got all of those things. I started building I really started this process not just from having kids, but from having a medically fragile child, where it was like you just needed everything to be one stop. And I've still got things where I'm just like, well, you just never know. But I've got, a matter of fact, when I took the bed apart, put everything to the side and looked at what had gathered underneath it, there was like an 8 roll package that I opened and dropped at some point in time, and it got kicked underneath that bed of self-adhesing tape for somebody's injury for something in the last 5 years. I was like, I didn't even know that was I didn't even know I was missing it. Did I toss it? No. That's one thing where I'm like, "No, that could be useful for something." And even just getting some counter pressure around my thigh, I used it for that. And I was, instead of K-tape, because I was like, I really wanted, how you are advised to do something, but then you just feel something within your body. Like, I want to be able to wrap my whole thigh in something that has a bit of compression to it. I used it for that. And all because then let me tell you something. When they K-tape, in 2 different parts around your thigh, hey, baby, it go all around that thigh to the inside where it's real sensitive. And then you gotta take it off at some point in time and then reapply it. I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing that." The first time I had to take it off, which was last night, I started to take it off in the bathroom and I was like, "Oh, man." Like, it just dawned on me as I started taking it off. I was like, "This is gonna suck." Dove my ass into the bathtub, hot ass water. I was like, we just gonna do it this way. Just gonna chill here for a minute. It still did not feel good, and I don't approve. So, yeah. And I'm not that bad, but I've definitely noticed since my son moved out, I am very much I've definitely realized like I managed my home for my children. Because managing it just for me, I'm working on it. It's been a year. It's been a year, I've spent the majority of my life always living with other people. So, and the majority of my adulthood with children in the home. So, I'm learning, what it is to be your own motivation for cleaning your own spot when nobody else is around. Because you realize that you're setting the standard of a clean home so that they have a standard of a clean home, and his home is impeccable. I know this because it's this big and he is a streamer, so I can see him doing just fine. Everything's just fine. That kitchen looks great. Yeah, see, one of my best friends had to deal with this with her mother-in-law, and she finally had to institute a rule. We're not taking You're not giving us boxes of stuff from your house. Donate it or throw it away or find somebody else because it was becoming a problem. And she was a hoarder for sure. For sure, for sure. But anyway, enough about the rando-ness of my little car accident and me, I'm working on it. I have been wanting to talk to y'all about this. So, I am reminded because I forgot. Um, I'm looking for something. Okay. Wow. This is making me feel good about myself. You know how I'd be saying things for funsies? I'd be predicting things and explaining things, right? On the Things Fall Apart Substack on March 16th, 2025. March 16, 2025. That's just shy of 2 months after Donald Trump was sworn in. I wrote a piece called The Greenland Play. I'm gonna have to read it because I just remembered that I wrote it. I'm gonna have to read it and see, how'd I do? How'd I do? The intro says, laughing at Trump doesn't make him stupid. It makes his opponents ignorant to his effectiveness. The world's smartest geopolitical actors aren't laughing at him. They're watching carefully. Let's just see what I said, okay? Because this all ties into, I'm just going to read it out loud. That's what I do. Let's see what I said about Trump and Greenland back in March 2025. Americans, especially progressives and the media, have a habit of underestimating Trump because his statements sound ridiculous on their face. But history shows that when people laugh at his ideas instead of taking them seriously, they fail to stop him from enacting them. The media, critics, and political opponents have an intellectual blind spot when it comes to Trump. They assume because something sounds absurd to them, it must be impossible. But Trump doesn't operate within traditional constraints. He will push as hard as he can until he finds a way to make things happen. Many Americans, particularly in liberal and progressive circles, continue to view Trump as an idiot rather than a serious threat. This is a critical miscalculation. It is not enough to laugh at Trump. The correct response is to analyze his moves, understand his goals, and develop counter strategies. Trump relies on being underestimated. That's how he wins. Every time people dismiss his statements as nonsense, he moves forward unchallenged. Laughing at Trump doesn't make him stupid, it makes his opponents ignorant to his effectiveness. Oh, this is long. The world's smartest geopolitical actors. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the little intro part. Okay, so, or the little excerpt part. When Trump first floated the idea of the US owning Greenland, the response in the US was mostly mockery. People saw it as another bizarre, impulsive statement. But Denmark and the rest of Europe didn't laugh. They understood exactly what it meant. The issue isn't that Trump wants Greenland. The issue is that Americans don't understand why Greenland is valuable in the first place. The Arctic, once seen as frozen wilderness of little geopolitical significance, has become a theater of strategic confrontation. As climate change opens up new shipping lanes and resource opportunities, the United States, China, and Russia are vying for dominance. This is when I got in my bag. Yes, I did. I got in my bag on this one. I'm remembering. While the US traditionally viewed Greenland through the lens of security and resource access, under a potential Trump administration, Washington could seek to exert control over Greenland and Iceland, aiming to checkmate China's Arctic ambitions. What happens if under the Trump administration the United States tries to take control of Greenland? And then I went through and broke down US-China relations, Greenland and Iceland as strategic leverage. And then China-Russia relations, an opportunistic partnership. And then the US, China, and Russia, a new strategic triangle. And then the European response, caught between security and sovereignty. Europe, already strained by the Ukraine war and America's increasingly unilateral posture, faces a difficult balancing act. If the US bypasses NATO and pursues Arctic dominance unilaterally, European nations, especially Germany, France, and Denmark, may seek alternative security arrangements. They've started talking about those yesterday. Well, they started talking about them a year ago, but they have re-upped the conversation as of yesterday. This could mean deeper military cooperation with the EU, a rethinking of European Arctic strategies, and even closer economic ties with China. Denmark, which controls Greenland, is in the most precarious position. While it benefits from US security guarantees, we have bases up there. We don't technically need to invade the country, just need to tell them to leave the barracks. While it benefits from the US security guarantees, it also risks becoming a battleground for great power competition. If Washington's unilateral approach provokes backlash from NATO allies, Denmark may face pressure to restrict US activity, creating fractures in the transatlantic alliance. Iceland, too, would face an increasing diplomatic dilemma. As a NATO member with historic ties to the US, it may struggle to balance the benefits of American investment with the broader European concerns over unchecked US military influence in the region. Then I went through the balancing act and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. Yeah. Almost a year ago. So, what does this have to do with Venezuela? Well, let's start from the beginning. There are a lot of people that are saying that Donald Trump launched a violent attack against the Venezuelan government and kidnapped their president to distract from the Epstein files. That is not true. That is an unacceptable amount of reductiveness that is dangerous. And that's why I say it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to say that because it's dangerous. Because if the narrative is, oh, this is just a distraction from the real important thing, then you're not going to be paying attention to Venezuela. And when you're not paying attention to what's happening in Venezuela, then you're not paying attention to what is about to happen in the rest of the world. The relevance of Venezuela is that it is a launching pad for what is about to come next. Okay? It's hypocritical. It's opportunistic. It is a totally unhinged, destabilizing power play that ultimately is going to backfire internationally in catastrophic ways, likely violent. As far as multiple armies taking action, okay? And at least one militia of 500,000, Venezuela. Okay. A residual, we talk about this, right? We talk about what are the natural things, what are the natural residuals, and then what just also comes into play. And then there's priorities, right? The priority right now is Venezuela. And said another way, the priority right now is the Trump administration's international border policy. Okay. Because they have come out and said that the United States controls this hemisphere and they can do whatever they want anywhere on this hemisphere. Trump has a very, very simple rationale for what he's doing. It's not to distract, it is to flex power, to resource grab. He is abnormally obsessed with an accurate understanding that America has a natural resource problem when it comes to manufacturing. And he wants to control them for the purposes of a stable America in the future. Because the planet, whether you know this or not, it's fascinating how they say that global warming is a hoax. Because the whole reason why they're doing this is because it is well established. Okay. It is well established that when it comes to natural resources, you hear them talking about rare earth minerals and all of that, but it's timber, water, it's everything. The planet is getting to a tipping point of availability and resource allocation because we have pilfered this planet, or at least the places that we control. And he perceives that other countries are benefiting from those resources on this hemisphere. And they should not be allowed to do that in ways that are more favorable than what the United States is allowed to do because we are the strong power of this hemisphere. That's their language. So he's right. He doesn't say it very well. He's not very eloquent in his delivery, but he is right that resource availability and allocation is a problem because we're greedy. He doesn't say that part, but it's because we're greedy, right? And resources eventually run out when you're stripping the planet of them. And everybody has competing interests, not just our economy, China, Europe, everybody, Africa, everybody. So he wants to control those things because in his mind, it's a very simple equation, right? If we control the resources, then we dominate everything heretofore, and we will be stable. Because if we dominate everything, then we're stable. It's not that simple. Clearly, right? This could start a nuclear war. That's not me being grand. This eventually could start a nuclear war or a violent confrontation between westernized nations. So They don't give a fuck about Venezuela. They care about the oil. He doesn't really understand it, but he cares about it. That's the resource that he cares about. He doesn't give a fuck about Venezuela. He does not care about the regime that's still in place. Okay? Doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about, Maduro. He doesn't care about that. Those are all just a means to an end. He doesn't care about how many people they had to kill to go in and forcefully remove him. That ends justifies the means type vibes. But now what they have done, the problem is that there's corruption all over the planet. So this is a purely illegal act. There is no justification for it, including dude was an illegal president. There's no justification. Okay. The United States has broken several international laws for which the United States no longer apparently recognizes. Because the United States has decided the United States controls this hemisphere. And they're literally challenging, like, prove it. Prove you actually control this territory. Prove it's actually yours. Prove it's unhinged and absurd, but they can say ridiculous things like that because they have the leverage in almost every single area except for debt. But everywhere else, including use of force, the United States has leverage. So Donald has long since realized, and we talked about this at the beginning. We talked about this in January when I said, here's what's going to happen. The thing that you have to understand about democracy is that it's a rules-based agreement. There is nothing forcing, including the courts. Nothing can force the President of the United States of America to do anything. Democracy is a handshake and a promise. And once the greatest democratic power on the planet decides, well, I'm just not gonna, all bets are off. And I said, he's going to do that because he knows I don't have to. Nobody can force me to. It's that simple. Impeach me and these people are not going to impeach me. The Republicans are scared of me. So short of that, nobody, a court-ordered piece of paper doesn't do shit. He does not care. He's proven that all year long. He doesn't care about a court order. He's sanctioning people at the International Criminal Court. He's sanctioning the International Criminal Court. We shouldn't be able to do that. So rules-based law and rules-based international, these things are agreements. This is, I promise to uphold these things. Well, I'm just not gonna. That's not how I see it. And I decide what the law is. And they said that at the beginning of this administration, that they would determine the law. And we've been fighting that and seeing it play out here domestically. And now we're really seeing it internationally. Tariffs is nothing compared to this. But he has said in the last 36 hours, and people in his administration have just been unhinged. Lindsey Graham, I almost lost my shit. Lindsey Graham is where I also almost lost my shit. I made it through Stephen Miller. I made it through Donald. I made it through everybody talking and fluffing up their chest feathers and all of their social media posts. And then Lindsey Graham's interview on Fox News, I was like, I feel like I need to break something. I was so angry. These people have no shame, and they are barreling forward. This is not a distraction from the Epstein files. This is the biggest gamble with democratic sovereignty in the history of the existence of countries and territories on the planet. That means America's sovereignty as well. If democratic sovereignty is on the table, ours is too. He is surrounded by people who have little pet wet dream projects where they've come up with a theory about a place and what could be done with it if the United States controlled it. Lindsey Graham cares a lot about Iran and what could be done if we made them bend the knee. What could be done with Cuba is another one of his theoretical wet dreams that he just comes up with all of these fantasies about what he wants to do. Stephen Miller's wife, who is a fucking podcaster, is on social media threatening Cuba. Cuba is not laughing. They see it as a direct threat, a hard direct threat, not a soft one. Donald Trump has put Greenland on a timeline and is considering sending notification to Congress for war powers to take it by force. If they say no, he's probably going to do it anyway. And at that point in time, we are in unhinged territory. Unhinged territory, and should be completely concerned about him collapsing the dollar. This is not a drill. This is the show. And if he continues to do this, which I have no doubt he's going to continue to do this, they are going to have to remove Donald Trump from office by force. Because this is unhinged, dangerous, dangerous behavior. He's gambling with everybody's lives in this country. Yeah, it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to experience it. It's extremely, extremely stressful. Yeah, it's not surprising in the least bit, but it is extremely, extremely stressful. Because like I said, this is not a sideshow. This is it. This is the dance. And he said, nobody can stop us. Repeatedly in the last 36 hours. They've put graphics together. This is our hemisphere. Some shit. They went to the United Nations, an emergency gathering of the United Nations. And the ambassador to the United Nations said the words out loud to everybody in the room. We control this hemisphere, and we are going to exert our control. by any means necessary to secure the resources that we need to secure our future. So, not a distraction. This is the main event. This is going to alter the course and the longevity of the United States of America forever. That's where we're at. It's not a distraction. And I really hate seeing people say that. The Jeffrey Epstein situation is not going to stop. It's going to continue. He can't stop it. So that's going to continue regardless. And people will continue to pay attention to that. But I'll tell you what, it's not a bigger priority today. It's not. And for anybody who says, nope, that's the most important thing happening right now, you've got your priorities fucked up. But also, you should be able to hold space for more than one thing. We spend far too much time in this country paying attention to nothing, watching nothing, spending our time on what just nothing. Pure brainless, mindless entertainment. This is the most tapped in folks have been on policy since like the Vietnam War. So yeah, this is the big dance. And it's nerve-wracking. But it's it's here, you know? It's here. It's here, it's real, and it's gonna have to get dealt with because I need you to imagine. I just need you to imagine a world where the United States has overthrown the government of Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, where he has invaded and set up shop in Greenland, where they've forcibly taken control of the water grid in Canada. And where they've really just militarized the entire Western Hemisphere and taken control. It's not good. It's not good because then somebody on the other side of the world, I wonder who that could be, is going to be thinking, I'm going to need Ukraine and Poland. Poland's already having a meltdown over Russia. And then you got China looking at Taiwan like, well, if we're just fucking kidnapping presidents and shit and just declaring you're a criminal president and you don't serve my needs, and I need there to be a president where they serve my needs. I don't mean to sound dramatic, but baby, these are dark days. And I don't think I've said that. I've tried to be real measured, right? And I told you that I would be from the beginning. We're not going to talk about all the things. We're not going to freak out every time. I've got my list of 12 categories of things that I will be looking for in the total systems failure. The last thing is the collapse of the dollar. But destabilizing resource allocation will do that. There is no immediate, we just take control of all of the resources and then everything's fine for America. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. We can't even refine, right? We can't even refine some of the assets we want to take control of, not to scale. So, yeah, the last thing on my list of, benchmarks that I would be looking for is the stability of the dollar. Everything else was checked off, I'd say within the first 7 months. So, we got here fast, and it doesn't get more serious than this because Donald Trump isn't good at posturing for effect. He doesn't know how to do that because he doesn't have any restraint. And he thinks that America is the most powerful nation, and the only way to be the most powerful nation is to wield the power aggressively. So he doesn't posture. He does the thing. He's not bluffing. He's going to do the thing. And he's going to set off Iran, and he's going to set off China. I mean, this is a pickle. Again, he doesn't care about that. That's just a means to an end. It's a sideshow and a puppet show. And, you know, obviously, I will be following the case closely because they're being charged out of the Southern District of New York. Yes, I know all about the judge in question. I'm not concerned about that judge. I'm concerned about all of the other judges because this is going to go. First of all, Maduro's got a rock star legal team. That was the first thing I went and looked for was who the fuck is representing this man? Because what can you imagine? Can you imagine? You're just in your bunker with your wife in another country, minding your good goddamn business. You're in communication with the United States. The Chinese envoy was just over to visit you. And now it's evening time. You watching your stories, And then They bomb everything in a 6-block radius, come in and get you and your wife, take you to another country, and you need a lawyer. I was like, "Who?" My point is, he is going to have eventually, right? He's starting with his at least for now, lead counsel, very reputable, dealt with a lot of important cases, um, represented Julian Assange, et cetera, right? So this is his arena. This is where he plays. But I'm sure the team is going to grow, and this is going to be a legal team like Comey had a legal team. And remember what Comey's legal team did? They filed everything within about a 25-day span. They were like, there was what, 4 motions to dismiss. You know, they went after the grand jury, this and they went after that. They blanketed that entire situation with just lawyer upon lawyer upon lawyer, and just everywhere they could hit him, they hit him. Dude's gonna do the exact same thing. And I just want to know what the courts are gonna say. What the courts are gonna say. They're saying this was a law enforcement action in another country to arrest their president. And I just want to know what the US courts are going to say. Because clearly they did not have jurisdiction in those countries. Also, they didn't get in FBI vehicles and just pop over there. The military took them over there. It's just, there's so many things, but that's what they're going to go after. Is this arrest is unlawful and this detainment is unlawful. And that's the first thing they're going to go after. Habeas corpus. You motherfuckers had no cause, no jurisdiction. This shit is illegal. And, you know, I know about all the kikiing and the hee-heeing and the ha-han. No, it is not okay for another country to kidnap a president because they don't like them or they don't like their, you know, their agreements, or it's a means to an end to get to things in the country that we want. That's not okay. That's not how things are supposed to go. Well, Obama went and got yes, Obama went and got what's his name? Who had an ICC warrant out for his arrest. He notified Congress. He notified other world leaders. It was not just some yeehaw type shit. Donald notified the oil companies. Marco Rubio lied to Congress. So you want to talk about a total systems failure? We are there. We've been there, but baby, we are there. This is a total systems failure. What this happening should in a normal society have immediately resulted in articles of impeachment being drawn up. Serious articles of impeachment, not, you know, for show, but serious articles of impeachment. That should have been the natural result of the president doing this, is Congress saying, he's crazy. He's got to go. Or the cabinet literally saying, dude's not wound too tight, unfit to serve, right? One or the other. Because this is unhinged. The United States of America is saying that it is going to invade countries and depose their leadership to take control of the resources to the benefit of the United States of America. That is unhinged. Unhinged behavior. Completely unacceptable. And it is not going to result in a net positive for the United States. Because if anybody, and by anybody, I mean Russia, China, Iran, and by proxy, Saudi Arabia, anybody can use Donald's unhingedness and his actions against other countries or other world leaders to their benefit to weaken the United States for their benefit, oh, baby, they're going to take that opportunity. They're going to take that opportunity. That's why behind closed doors, Russia can tell Trump, go fuck with Venezuela. And then in public, they have their ambassador say, immediately return the president of Venezuela to his country. They're playing and positioning. He thinks nobody can checkmate him. And that's not true. But for that checkmate to happen, it will be a catastrophic disaster for all of us alive on the planet today. Because if another country comes up with a checkmate for Donald, he's going to grab that nuclear football or something very close to it. So, if you're wondering if it's bad, it's not good. It's not good. I think they have bigger, I mean, at least in their eyes, they have more pressing matters with Taiwan. But right. This theory is crazy. The other thing that I was thinking to myself is, we talk about proportional response. I say that all the time here. What is a proportional response? Or that's not proportional, right? Like, take it down 6 notches. That's not a proportional response to the situation. What the fuck do you think a proportional response would be? If Russia came into the United States and attacked the White House, took the president, don't think about him. Think about the president, not Donald, the president, and the first lady, and took them back to Russia and threw them in a jail. What do you think the proportional response to that is? It's nuclear war. Venezuela doesn't have nuclear weapons. Cuba doesn't have nuclear weapons. Colombia doesn't have nuclear weapons. So his "who gonna stop me," in a sense, is accurate. But it all depends on, and he knows this, they all know this, where they do it in the world. Because I do not believe for a minute that anybody in Europe is going to seriously stand up to Donald over countries in South America. But fuck with Greenland. We're in a whole new territory. We're in a whole new territory. It will completely destabilize the United Nations, and then we're going to see factions of military might pop up around the world and consolidate with each other, against each other. Russia will not stand alone. There are countries that will stand with Russia. Iran and Saudi Arabia and the EU are hoes. They'll play whatever side benefits them and keeps them out of the fray. So it's a problem and not a small one. And if we don't survive it, right? And I don't mean certain death, but I just mean like a functioning society. The Epstein files aren't going to fucking matter. They're not going to matter because your paycheck is going to be worthless. And I'm pretty sure that's a bigger priority to you than what's in the Epstein files. So I've said that from the word go, babe. Always. Always. He's been talking about Greenland. He was, yeah, I imagine that he got some kind of fucking briefing during his first administration. Whether it was a briefing by analysts or a briefing by, the yoo-hoos that he's surrounded by coming with their dystopian, in 10 years, America's not going to have this. And in 15 years, we're not going to have this. And if we don't act now type shit, something clearly happened. I think, well, I know that we were talking about these things at the time. On the ground level, people were talking about the PlayStation 5 is delayed because they don't have enough chips or something. That was a rare earth mineral issue. And while the people were focused on getting the next PlayStation, governments are focused on computing. Those same resources are needed for computing, and computing runs everything. It runs everything. So he got a bee in his bonnet about Greenland during his first administration. This isn't the first time that he's talked about it. The easiest way I can say it is Donald Trump's first administration was chaos. It was chaotic as shit. They got nothing done that they intended to do. His second administration brings the chaos. They are executing everything that they set out to do. He was talking about getting, withdrawing from the UN during his first term, but they were in chaos. Remember, we were counting how long people were staying in their jobs by Scaramucci's. Now they are bringing the chaos. It's a completely different playing field. Now it's about execution as rapidly as possible. As rapidly as possible. And these, we are currently in the times of nothing can be reversed. There are no takebacks. The only thing we can do is literally charge forward. That's it. He's not going to give him back. Right? He's not going to do that. Even if the courts say, hear me, even if the United States courts say we do not have jurisdiction and you did not have cause to go and arrest this man, to prosecute him for these things, The United States of America is not going to release him. They'll send him somewhere else. They're not going to release him. He's not going to put him back. He has leverage over the acting president, which was the vice president up until yesterday. He has leverage over her. Fear. He basically told her publicly that he will kill her. If she doesn't do what the United States wants. Because people have been asking him, well, the regime is still in place. Aren't you going to have to go back in and arrest all these people? And he's like, he said, she's not going to be a problem. She better not be a problem. We'll do to her what we did to him. He said, what will happen to her will probably be worse than what we did to him. That's death. We'll just kill you. Yeah, even if he did, it wouldn't matter. And I was before this happened, I was thinking to myself, I was already thinking about um how we are being perceived by the rest of the world. Um and the damage that is being done to the United States' traditional international allies and relationships. And I was thinking about that in connection to kind of our jaded perspective here in the United States of nothing's going to happen. There will never be any real serious reform or change in the government, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking to myself, the next president might not want to really go hard on accountability and change because we just have this habit in this country of trying to just move forward without dealing with shit, right? That always seems to be like the go-to is just let's just move forward. Um Leaving the same broken, fucked up system with the same weaknesses and ineffectiveness that we've seen on display in the last year. They might wanna do that domestically because fuck the people anyway, right? But they can't do that internationally. America is causing such harm to other countries that just electing a sane president isn't gonna be enough for the rest of the world. America will have to revise its systems in order to restore those relationships, because why should any country have confidence in in the United States of America after this year? Our system in the US is fucked. Our constitution is broken. It is outdated. Our rules and norms and laws and separations of powers are all fucked. And he's used that to inflict great harm and suffering around the world, materially. Bombing, withholding aid, tariffs, jacking people's tankers and shit. I mean, just whatever. It's like old school battleship. And Trump is playing for the United States. We're on one side of the board, and the rest of the world is on the other. and he's just E2 to 6B. No, missed it. Try again. He does. But, you know, first we got to survive this. And it's not good. It's not a good situation that he has decided who gonna check me, bro? We're gonna do it. Greenland can't even keep American troops out. So this is bad. It's a bad, 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 bad situation. Very bad. Very, very, very bad. Merca. Merca. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Like one sane president coming next is not going to help the America in the long run. There is no restoration to what was before. There is none of that. It's only moving forward into uncharted territory that we've never been in before. We don't know what it looks like. I hope we get there. And he doesn't fucking kill us all. And then there's this question. And then there's this question. Will we even get another president? Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I believe that we will. Okay? I believe that we will get another president. I've said this before. I think that it's distinctly possible in 2026 that a group of very angry white Americans find themselves in Washington, D.C. Yeah. Fucking with free and fair elections is a bridge too far for many people, from regular degulars to even Republicans in Congress. And again, it will set off huge international problems as well. I don't see a pathway for him to be able to do that. He can try. But I don't see a pathway for him to do that. I think that he could seriously fuck some shit up, right? I could see Donald saying that elections need to be postponed for some reason, right? And I could see Republican, not all, it could happen, but I could see a majority of Republican states getting on board and saying it's fine. We're going to have an election, we're just not having it right now. And then all of those states are going to court because their residents are going to sue the shit out of them immediately to force the elections to go forward. And the courts will rule in favor of elections going forward. So then the election happens. Okay. Then Congress has to do its part. Same thing. If Congress dilly-dallies or acts like they're not going to certify the results of the election, they're going to court because people are going to sue the shit out of them immediately. And they'll lose. And then there's, will he leave? Will he leave? And then that will come down to somebody pulling him aside and saying, nobody is going to protect you physically in staying in the White House. You might have a militia, but you don't have the Secret Service. And you don't have the military. So there are a couple different pit stops along the way to whether or not we have another president. At the time, we're supposed to have another president. If America is still here and we still have a functioning, that doesn't mean effective, a functioning federal government, eventually there will be another president. Baby, I just want him to die. I do. I do. Every day I think about it more than twice. That's not going to solve our problems either, but it will certainly prevent new ones. It will certainly prevent new ones. I just want him to die. And for the most part, I've stopped questioning my morality when it comes to that. Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think they're necessarily dangerous thoughts to have. You know, I ain't doing shit. But if he passes by, I'm throwing a fucking shoe, both, as hard as I fucking can. Just because I don't, you know, I try not to dwell on people who I would rather have departed this plane of earthly existence. And I try not to dwell on their eventual death, you know? But I just want him to die. Just die. Fuck. They said the president is taking over 5 times the recommended dose of aspirin every single day. I said, excellent. That's great. That's fantastic. You want to know why both of his hands are all bruised up now? It's because he's getting IVs, with some unknown medication for some condition they won't talk about. And when you are, you know, on a blood thinner or taking aspirin to thin your blood, bruising is a side effect. So when that bullet whizzed by his ear, the blood was so thin, it just jumped out of his body. just jumped out. Fucking ridiculous. You don't know what it is. Okay? You don't know what it is. Have you ever seen a stem cell transplant? I have seen a stem cell transplant. You don't know what it is. None of us know what it is. But you know what we can hopefully be guaranteed of? It does have to do with an ailment. It does have to do with an ailment. But all of these theories about, oh, he's getting stem cell replacement therapy, I've heard all that shit, and I call bullshit. I call bullshit. And I am not a fan of any kind of medical professional. And the chat knows this about me, but maybe you don't. I'm not a fan of any medical professional using their credentials to go on social media and talk about what's wrong with the president from their perspective. It's unethical and it's annoying as shit. It's not more annoying than the fact that the White House doctors lie to us all the time about his health, but it's annoying. You should not talk about somebody who you have not seen or treated or evaluated. And they have not. So I don't give a shit what any of them say. And I've heard them all. I've heard all their theories and all their quasi diagnoses of what's wrong with Donald Trump. I don't give a shit. I just want him to die. Preferably on national television. That would be great. So that we could all witness him stroke out, have a brain aneurysm, which then has excessive bleeding because he takes so much goddamn aspirin every fucking day. The other thing that I've decided is I think Donald is the one who is having these cognitive tests done. I think he's doing them because he wants to be doing them. I think he's doing them because, period, if you've ever taken care of somebody who was an elderly person, and he's 79 years old, so he's elderly, or been around an elderly person, you know, taking them to their doctor's appointments and blah, 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 blah. It's just like when you have a baby and you take them in for a well child check. And the doctor looks at the chart and says, oh, 6 months old. At 6 months old, you can expect to see your baby do this, that, and the other. Okay. At 1 year old, they're going to do this. At 2 years old, this. At 3 years old, this. It's the same thing for old people. So as Donald has gone in for his physical evaluations that are just the standard ones, or he's gone in for medical care, he is hearing from whoever is treating him that men his age typically experience blah, 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 blah. Okay? That includes dementia, a whole host of things, instability in their gait, right? Mobility issues. So let's just go with those right there. Dementia and accessibility issues. I think that Donald thinks that cognitive tests are proof that he doesn't have dementia or doesn't have a tinge of it, right? Isn't starting to have the effects of dementia. And so I think that he has them administered for himself because he just took another one. And he took one 2 weeks ago. He just took another one, was posting about it on social media. And I just, all of a sudden, I was like, I think he's doing this to himself. Either that or he's completely fucking senile and he keeps remembering the same test. But I think it's more likely because he can boss people around and tell them what to do. I think it's more likely that he is doing this to convince himself that he is of sound mind. And one does not equate to the other. One does not equate to the other. Another one. Another one. It's crazy. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Because I was thinking to myself, because I've I'm the person that you call when somebody's being born or when somebody's dying. So I've been thinking about the elderly people that I've been around and thinking about why would a doctor do cognitive tests on a patient every 2 weeks? Either you had a stroke, you've shown some sort of severe gap in memory, or you're doing it to yourself. But every 2 to 3 weeks, this motherfucker is taken and passed with flying colors. Some type of cognitive fucking exam, according to him. Yeah, I think he thinks it's proof that he is of sound mind and making the best decisions, right? Making the best decisions. And certainly, that's not what a cognitive test proves. A cognitive test ain't got shit to do with foreign policy or whether or not it's good or not. But I think that's what he's using it for. That's just my for funsies in my head. Well, he said today. Today. He's still pushing redistricting um in different parts of the country in red states because, he said they're going to impeach me. If Democrats gain an ounce of control in November. He's so fucking dumb. They'll find a reason. They'll come up with something. Yeah. Yeah, they'll come up with something. I wonder what the fuck it could be. Um And that's really the only time Donald ever looks sincerely concerned is when he talks about impeachment. Because he knows what impeachment means. If the Senate convicts, as of that vote and gavel, you are no longer the president. So we'll see. This isn't just spineless ass kissing. This is you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. This is people being able to live out their stupid little pipe dreams and their dumb little plans. As I said earlier, Lindsey Graham has his whole little wet dream about Iran. He's got another wet dream about Cuba. And now he's got a president who may be willing to do the very things that Lindsey Graham talks about. And that makes Lindsey Graham feel powerful. That's why that motherfucker was on Fox News wearing a Make Iran Great Again hat. Let me just say something. Nah, 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 because we about to talk about Lindsey Graham's gay ass titties. So, seg. it don't get nothing but serious around these parts. Now we've transitioned to the LBG. So let's talk about Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is a fucking bitch. Oh God, I can finally just say it. Oh my God, I can't stand that motherfucker. Lindsey Graham is the worst kind of fucking gay. The worst kind of fucking gay. And just the fucking worst. The fucking worst. I cannot stand that motherfucker. I can't stand that motherfucker. And I want, before he dies, for somebody to look him in his fucking face and tell him, hey, pussy boy, we all know you're gay. It doesn't matter what pictures or what videos or what audio they have of you, wherever they fucking have it out there in the world. We all know you're gay, you fucking traitorous piece of shit. The worst kind of fucking gay. The worst kind of fucking gay is a man who believes he will go to hell for being gay and does everything he can to fit in and become the oppressor. This motherfucker put on a Make Iran Great Again hat and said blue states should stop getting federal aid, especially welfare, SNAP, et cetera, et cetera. You know what you need to do in order to get welfare? You need to send your biometric data and your DNA to the federal government to prove you're a real person. And not just digital fraud, collecting a check. And he's 1000% serious. He's the worst kind of fucking gay there is. He's a fucking Judas. And I just want somebody to air his ass out. Air it out. We don't kink shame here, but I am closet shaming. I am closet shaming, not just for the sake of closet shaming. It's because watching that interview again, of all the things that have happened in the last, 45 days, I was like, I'm gonna fucking lose it. And I realized the reason why I was so angry is because Lindsey Graham is a closeted gay man who will not live in that truth openly and publicly, but more to the point, is so desperate to be accepted by the status quo and their white Jesus that he has become an oppressor. And now he just wants to exact cruelty and humiliation on the American people. And I want to snatch that fucking bird-brained bitch up by his goddamn pink silk tie and throttle him. How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? That whole posture is an insult to people's intelligence. Fuck. Oh man, I'm heated. I'm heated. I'm heated. I was like, this is the thing that's going to send me over the edge for the day. Is this motherfucker right here. All cocky on Fox News. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And Cuba better watch out, and Iran had their chance. Well, Iran had their chance, and now we just gotta go do and get it done. Punch him in the fucking face. He will cry like a bitch. Then tell him to sit down and shut the fuck up. These pussy ass motherfuckers trying to be strong men. You bitch. You bitch. How fucking dare you? Oh man. I just yeah. Yesterday for me, yesterday for me, the thing that kept going through my mind was I was watching people on the right pretzel themselves into some fucking composure to try and defend this illegal ass president, right? I was just thinking to myself, be so fucking for real right now. Like I've just fucking had it with people just getting up and just saying a bunch of bullshit out of their mouths and then not getting called on it. Be so fucking for real. And I'm not engaging in that bullshit anymore. I don't give a fuck who it comes from. I don't give a fuck if it's Aiden fucking Ross talking about black women. I don't give a, I don't give a fuck. Be so fucking for real. You sound like a fucking idiot. The rest of you and the rest of the world can see you are the problem here. You are the dumbass. Your legacy is not going to be the strong man. That is not what your legacy is going to be after you are dead and gone. That is not how history is going to remember you forever. Forever. Okay. I just needed to get that out. Fuck Lindsey Graham. Jesus fucking Christ, you traitorous piece of shit. So anyway. And that's why I didn't make any videos yesterday, because I was so angry that I felt like I could cry. And people misinterpret tears coming from women all the fucking time. Oh my God, you're sad. You're so emotionally invested. No, I want to punch you in your fucking face. Tears are restraint. The tears represent restraint. But I've just fucking had it with these people. Not being called out on their fucking bullshit and just existing in these echo chambers where people are like, uh-huh, oh, nice, cool. Oh yeah, that would be so much better. Da 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 da. It's nauseating. It is insulting to our intelligence. And be so fucking for real. Right? Because I'm sure they're not the same as tears of joy. Jesus, I'm starting to get a tension headache just thinking about it. So let's change subjects. I'm so fucking disgusted. I'm just so fucking disgusted because all of this is happening because it's being allowed to happen. All of this is happening and because it's being allowed to happen and people are being opportunistic. Fuck it, while we're breaking the rules, let's break a couple more because I want this thing. Fuck you, Lindsey Graham. Fuck you. You fucking fart face. That's not the F word that I wanted to use, but if you're part of the ABC mafia, you probably know what F word it is that I really want to use. Yeah. 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 And I say that as a queer person. Oh, God. It's when behind closed doors I refer to certain people in the culture with a hard R. I want to refer to Lindsey Graham as the F word version of the hard R because fuck that fart face. Oh, God. Well, I got his home back together because a raccoon came through and ripped it to shreds. I looked outside, it had pulled the fucking heating pad through the little entryway, and it was just laying in the rain. Cover off, blanket ruined. I was just like, gross. Um, but they were getting into it during the season finale of Stranger Things. Um, Oscar was trying to whoop this raccoon's ass, and the raccoon was like, "No, I don't really care. I'm gonna eat all your food." Um, so I finally separated them, put Oscar in the bathroom for a little while until the raccoon just fucking ate everything and then left, basically. And I got everything cleaned up and put back together because it was raining that day. Um, Stupid. So he's cool. He's cool. Um, yeah, that was a ridiculous day. Um, as you all can see, as I said at the beginning of this live, starting the whole packing process. I've got to get it done in a pretty short amount of days. But that's fine. I'm gonna get it done. Um, for those of you who don't know, I rent this place and it is being sold out from under me illegally. Um, so I had explained to the chat, like, I'm gonna have to sue these people because I've got an exorbitant amount of damages as a result of them, basically illegally evicting me from my home. Um, and then I told you all that I was going to have mediation to see if we could avoid me having to take them to court and if they would, make a reasonable settlement offer to settle a whole host of, I mean, baby, once I found out this shit was illegal, I did my thing, okay? I became my own client so fast. I was like, "Well, if this is illegal, then all this other shit applies too." That brings the damages up to a lot of shit. Um, we had a mediation scheduled for the end of the year, and then they canceled it. And then we had mediation today. And we settled. So, mediation is not about who's right or who's wrong. It's not about who wins or who loses. It's about moving forward to the future. I won. So successful mediation. Successful mediation. Uh Definitely, the great thing and the problem with mediation is, when you decide to settle something through mediation or arbitration, off top, you're pretty much agreeing to walking away with less than half of what your overall damages could have been in court if you would have gone to court and won in court. You're pretty much barring some kind of extraordinary circumstances. You're pretty much walking in with the understanding that you're going to take less than half of what is owed to you to avoid having to go to court and just settle it now and walk away. So, um I can't say anything else because it's confidential. But I can say that I was perfectly happy agreeing to it and moving forward. So, and there's just a bunch of stuff that's just like now just off my shoulders and I'm not responsible for and I don't need to be concerned about as I vacate from one place to another. So, I was hella skeptical. I'll say that. From where the mediation started to where the mediation ended, I was like, "Oh, this is a fool's errand." But nope, nope. We shockingly got there. So, um, it's not some big massive payout. The money is mentally already spent. Because I spent so much time since I found out about this, working on this situation, finding a place to live, researching the laws and the statutes and just the everything, moving, right? That just the loss in economic damages from working on this and not working billable hours has been significant and had me very concerned. So, um, yeah, I can I can rest a little bit easier that I will be able to recover and whatnot. So, yeah, it's thank you. It is. It is. And yep. That's exactly right. That shit is priceless. Because I've been super, super, super fucking stressed. And it's been coming out of my body in, various ways that I won't get into, but that's how I know that I'm really stressed out. It's not, you know, emotion or crying or anything like that. It's just the tension of the weight of the nuance of the situation and everything that has to be, dealt with to, successfully relocate yourself. So, um, the good news is that I will not be far from where I am right now. I will be very close. If you're wondering, is she moving next door? No, I'm not moving next door to my neighbors that just bought a house. But I will be very close. I will be so close that it's okay that Oscar is not fully transitioned to just living inside. That's not gonna be a problem. And I don't care what people say, that is another weight off of my body. Because if I had to go far, I was just gonna kidnap that baby and we'll just figure it out. Um, but we can just continue with the transition and yeah, it's not gonna be uh I'll still be in his stomping ground. So yay. Yeah, and I'm really glad that I took the position that I took when this all popped off, which I shared with you all, was that I made the decision that this was going to be a blessing. And I'm just gonna continue to hold to that, you know? I don't know if I sometimes when you get a blessing, you don't see it. You don't know it because it has replaced something else that hasn't even happened yet, right? And so I don't know if I will ever understand the totality of this situation actually being a blessing, but I decided from the get-go, I've decided that this situation is going to be a blessing. So, is it stressful? Fuck yeah. It's stressful for me and my whole family, as I shared with you all before. So, yeah, very, very stressful. And I would not be, able to move without them. So, um, basically coming to my rescue and making sure that I'm good and have everything that I need. So, yeah, and I definitely did think about, because it is illegal what they did, I could just refuse to leave. A court would rule in my favor. And then there would just be a trifecta of lawsuits that would pop off between all of the parties. Um, I would benefit greatly, but it would be stressful. It would be stressful and it would probably take a while, right? Probably take a significant amount of time. And I don't feel like spending my time going through that. So, I mean, I thought about it. I really thought about it because, you know, it's I don't know how it is for other people, but it may seem silly to people that like I'm basically staying on the same block. It's still a big decision to decide. I'm going to leave this place and I'm going to go live somewhere else. I'm going to be dealing with different people, right? Different owners who definitely do know the rules. They displayed that to me right away. Um, but it's just different. And once you make that decision and you actually take that step, it's irrevocable. And I'm very happy where I am with what I have. And I did not want to move. I still don't want to move, but I've accepted like that I'm moving and that this situation has happened and I'm just no pun moving through the situation. It was like, okay, this happened. Okay, I did find a place that's very close. Okay, great. They're going to rent it to me. Oh, it turns out that this notice to move was illegal. Oh, I'm entitled to statutory damages, which can then cover the cost of all of the income that I've lost dealing with this situation. It's just like, I'm just trying to move through it as smartly as possible. And I don't think it was really until this morning where I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going through with the mediation and I'm moving." So, yeah. I've rarely gotten any. I've rarely gotten any, but, the thing is, I've said this before and, people who know me in my personal life know this about me, and I wield this for me or them, right? Don't break rules and laws in front of me that have consequences built in, where it's just like, you'll have to engage a process, but if you engage this process, you're likely to succeed. Because baby, I will engage the process. And that's not the same as putting faith in the system or faith in the process, but I will engage the process. And, if it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll see you in court because you fucked up and you fucked up with the wrong one. So, yeah, it was evident to me from that moment, from the moment I learned, oh, this is illegal. You can't do this in this city. I was like, oh, it's on. Oh, it's on. And I didn't say a word to them. Not a word. I'm not going to try and negotiate this with you outside of the presence of a neutral third part. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not going back and forth over email. I'm not doing none of that. I'm too busy researching. What does it all mean? Because then the then residual impacts of this thing being illegal means a whole bunch of other shit comes into play. I got to learn about all that. I don't know. So, yeah, put in the work for it, but it needed to be done. It needed to be done. It was either that or, suffer through a multi-year long stalemate of them wanting to sell and me being like, "Nah, I don't feel like going anywhere. And since you didn't renew my lease as you were required to by law, the last lease terms exist in perpetuity. I'll stay here forever. You'll never sell this fucking place." But I don't think that that was the right decision to make. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, okay, this is happening. I'm with it. I'm ready to it as much as it was not something that I wanted to do, even just the opportunity to get rid of a bunch of shit, which I mean, technically I could still do, right? I could stay here and I could do all of that, but I'm not motivated at all. I'm not motivated at all. So, now I am. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity and lighten everything and move on. So, and I truly do, wish them the best. I don't um believe that they had any malicious intent. I believe that they were negligent, but I don't believe that they had any malicious intent. And I don't wish them anything but, peace and health in the future. Otherwise has been a perfectly pleasant living experience. But when it turned bad, baby, it was pretty immediate. It was pretty immediate and pretty irrevocable. So everybody moves forward, and that's great. And, I don't have to clean the oven before I move out. So that's great too. Ah. Yeah. So that was good. Let's see what else happened. The Critics' Choice Awards were recent yesterday, day before yesterday. Sinners won a couple. Miles Caton won. Um, Best screenplay, I think was and best casting. Um, I think were the biggest nods. So best director and best movie went to One Battle After Another, and I've already said my piece on that movie. I think it was absolutely fucking horrible and really disgusting. It just the whole premise was revolting to me. Um, so did not like at all. Don't think it is worthy of best picture of the year. But I'm not surprised, and I did not expect the voters of the Critics' Choice to prop Sinners. Nah, baby. Those are industry establishment folk. I did not expect them to prop Sinners at all. So I was not surprised by the outcome. And I don't think Ryan Coogler or Michael B. Jordan were surprised either. Cynthia Erivo is so clear on the um intentions of these various awards things that that she was just like, "I'm going on vacation. I'm going on vacation. When's the Critics' Choice? I'm going on vacation." 'Cause she knew, I don't need to be there. There will be enough people from the movie representing the movie. I don't need to be there. Yeah, and also, I ain't gonna win shit because 'cause I'm black. She didn't say that, but it was very evident. I don't think you can pit one against the other because I don't think they're comparable. And also, those kinda narratives are tired to me, so I don't really give a shit, right? I don't care. I don't care. Sinners was one of the most successful movies, an original IP. Variety didn't even put it on its end of the year list. So, white people gonna white people, white establishment gonna white establish, and I've learned that when pretty people in Hollywood do an ugly role, that film is going to be nominated for and win almost everything. And the fact that people think it's so extraordinary that people if you saw one battle after another, first of all, it's trash. But second of all, nobody in that movie is remarkable. Nobody in that movie is remarkable. And for damn sure, Leonardo DiCaprio is not better in one battle after another than he was in Wolf of Wall Street. What did he win an Oscar for? The Revenant. But he's quirky and funny and da 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 da. And then there's Sean Penn's dick. That's what the movie is about. Sean Penn's racist dick. I hate that movie so much. I had no idea what it was about going in, and I watched it to see what the hype was, okay? So it's not like I definitely didn't go to the theater for it. No, baby. I went to the theater maybe twice in 2025. But I watched it literally, let me see what all the hype is. And I was immediately repulsed and offended and disgusted. And then I just spent the rest of the movie waiting to see, like, okay, so it was disgusting. It was a disgusting movie at the expense of Black women and Black motherhood, which Teyana Taylor always seems happy to represent on screen. And people think it's just so revelatory. Nothing in that movie was revelatory. But Leo's quirky and funny. He's the comic relief. Oh my gosh, how daring, how risky. Ah, never seen him like this. Wolf of Wall Street. 10 times better. This was a movie we did not need. And I'm sick and tired of white people writing shit about Black women. So, there's that. Sinners is the best movie of the year. It doesn't really matter what the award shows say or don't say. But Critics' Choice did not surprise me in the least bit. It was terrible. It was terrible, and I kept waiting to see, like, is something else going to happen in this movie? No. 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 You know what I would have liked a movie about of all the characters in that movie? Of all the characters in that movie, I would have liked a movie about Benicio del Toro's character. That was the best of the movie. Now, I don't think it was an Oscar-worthy performance, but I think the best part of the movie was Benicio. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, blackness through the white gaze is not something that I'm interested in, and it's so evident in this movie. White people love this fucking movie. Everybody loves Sinners, but it's a black movie. So, Sinners and it's a white sin I mean, not Sinners, One Battle After the Next, another, whatever the fuck it's called, is a white savior movie. That's what Leo DiCaprio's character is. He's the white savior. So, yeah, expect it to win all the things. Yeah, that movie was horrible. It was fucking insulting. It enraged me just like F1 enraged me. F1, I said this before. F1 is another white savior movie that I could have seriously done without. Seriously could have done without. My life would have been fine. Mm, mm, mm. So, that's really all I got, y'all. Um, Depending on what happens the rest of the week, I don't know that you'll necessarily see me until next week. If something disastrous happens, then I will probably find a way to get here and spend a couple hours with you. There's a possibility that I might pop on Thursday night just for a couple hours. But I really gotta, you know, lock in, the kids say, and get this place packed up. Um, so I may not see you before next week. If I do, hopefully it's under chill circumstances. But again, if something disastrous happens out there in the world, I'll try and get here to have a live with you. My computer will obviously be the last thing that I pack up. But yeah. I hope y'all are otherwise doing well. And that you continue to pay attention to all of the things that are going on out there in the world. Because boy, we're in a time right now. So I've gone from I've had a range of emotions over the last, I would say, 5 days in particular with regard to the administration. And I imagine that that's gonna continue. For the most part, I'm focused on just being informed and paying attention to what other countries are saying in their public statements and being aware, because it is an evolving situation. So I encourage you to do the same. Just continue to be aware. And, for now, that's all we can do. And it may be all we can do, period, but it's definitely all we can do now, but it's important. It's important because things are going to just continue to escalate from here on out. And it's important that you understand why. So I wish I had more uplifting, words for you all, but I think I really did just want to come on and say, like, hey, you clocking this shit? This shit is not a distraction. It is not a distraction. It's the big dance. And I pray for us. I really got nothing else. I pray for us. And I pray he dies. Just fucking die already. Good God. Die. Be good to yourselves. Be gentle with yourselves. I'll see you soon. Peace.